Magnolia painting. So this is the next one of our challenges. Here I'm sketching just overall outline. So as you've seen these pictures already, it has two types of I guess closeness. You have very sharp flowers in the foreground and some in the distance are really blurred. So the ones that are blurred, you don't have to sketch as precisely. I just suggested them really. And the one that are in the foreground, just sketch out in detail. So this is a sped up video. I don't sketch that quick actually. This is actually slower than this. So just look through that. At the end of my sketching, I'm going to see for a moment a finished painting and me talking over what colors I've used and what brushes, showing you what brushes I've used. Of course, you can replace them with anything you have, like any ready brushes, synthetic or natural. It's a small painting. It doesn't have to be this detail. So you can see here very loosely painting, sketching the inner distance. The size of the painting is 21 centimeters by 21. Guys, to finish this painting, you're going to need a couple of brushes. So whatever you have used, but I basically used those four. So this is a natural hair brush, and these are all synthetic. And for smaller, these are mostly those really. So, and for the colors I've used, so you can replace them with whatever you have. Was this pink was quite handy to do the tips, opera rose, and then I've used quinacridone magenta for a lot of pinks in here. Two blues, cobalt blue and ultramarine blue for two different shades, and just one yellow permanent gamboge, gamboge hue probably you all have. This is back to the beginning, and I'm just re-wetting the page, except of the flowers that are in the foreground, all those flowers that we see in detail. So you probably, I don't know if you see it because my hand goes in the way, but I'm trying to paint right to the sketching line. Just wetting. I was doing it slower. This is a sped up video, so just take care and just do it slowly. Make sure it's all properly wet. And when that's done, I'm going to start mixing colors. So I'm using here mixture of red and blue and a tiny bit of yellow for the background for the grays. So I decided in this video that it'd be better for you to see me mixing colors rather than the reference, because you have the reference already. I hope you're going to print it out. So you can see I'm adding some blues, some turquoise, so all those kind of blended in colors. I'm painting it in wet, so they're all going to blend in together. You have to do it kind of quickly, not as quickly as you see here, but don't leave it too late because paper is going to dry out and it's going to be harder to do that effect. Also, I didn't go over this again, so this I just had one chance to paint all of it, so I make sure all the colors are dark enough. I think eventually I'm starting adding some flowers in the distance as well, so they're not going to exactly follow the lines you sketch, you know, because it's on wet. It's going to blur a little bit, but don't worry about it. This is just suggestion of the tree of other branches in the distance, so it doesn't really matter. So I added then quinacridone magenta, a little bit darker, mixed with a little bit of blue, as you can see. So this is all on a wet page. When this is finished, I'm gonna dry out this layer. So and then work on the flower in the foreground. So this is still in wet, and I'm just mixing really dark color, ultramarine blue, magenta, and a bit of yellow, just to do the branches. The reason I'm doing them wet because the water already soaked in a little bit in the paper, and by doing it wet, by doing it last, I can control it a little bit better. Okay, so all the loose washes do first, and then the more detail you want in that distance, do that part last. So here I paint in between the flowers as well. So this is after drawing it out. So I started with some green, yellowy green to do the leaves, tiny little leaves that are at the bottom, and then I've just progressed the flowers. This is opera rose, it's really nice pink. If you don't have it, it's really hard to get that sort of candy-like pink. Just use quinacridone with a little bit of water. So don't be focusing on getting the colors just right. You know, as long as we know it's pink flowers, Magnolia, I think we're happy with that. Then so this is when this is still wet, and I'm going then over and adding some darker parts. So you can see I'm mixing darker pink now and just going over, and I'm working from lighter to darker. Here I tried it out so I can work on more details. So basically, if I just started adding a bit darker color, they will all blend too much together. So I just give it a quick dry. I'm adding darker and darker details. So I'm just working from light to dark as I usually would with watercolor. And the painting already looks what I really wanted like, but if you don't add those really darks at the bottom of the flower, it just looks a bit flat. So here I started adding some details, so eventually add some more color and darker branches. So and those little tiny lines on the flower, you can see here. If you have rigger, you can use rigger here. I just forgot about changing a brush. I think my lines are a bit thick, but use whatever you have. So here I'm mixing darker color and just going over the branch, just the bottom part of it where it doesn't catch the light. Also the very last part of this paintings, I decided to use white, so just use Chinese white. I'm mixing it here and just add it for the highlights of the branch. You can see it's not really necessary if you don't have white, but it's a nice little touch. Okay, hope you enjoyed it.